The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018.
This afternoon. We have got a wonderful guest right here with us. And guess where we are? We are in the capital in Montgomery, Alabama. So all you people that are watching all over the United States, even in Australia, this is our beautiful capital in Montgomery, Alabama, and we're honored to be here with Mr. Zeigler today.
This is our Alabama State Auditor, Jim Zeigler. And Jim, I'm going to tell you, when you were first elected, we became friends right off the bat because of your view on spending the money here at the Capitol.
Well, I appreciate that. You're very aware that a lot of people in Montgomery did not agree with me on that. The only thing they wanted to cut was my budget, and they did. But their budgets, nothing's been cut.
Yeah, but you went in and started cutting budgets within your own circle of here before anybody asked you to.
And I am term limited, and so I go out on January 15th. So I'm down to my last 2 months, 2 weeks, 2 days, and what time?
15 seconds. Now, we've had a lot of fun with you being, and I've enjoyed we've had a lot of interviews, and they've been some of my favorites as well. But you've accomplished a lot of things since you've been in office. Let's talk about this.
One of the first things, when I went in January of 15, I come in the day after the inauguration. I'm in the office, and some of the staff comes in and says, "We got a problem."
First day.
And first working day, we got a problem. What is it? He said, somebody has taken the official portraits of Governors George and Lurleen Wallace.
Oh.
And which is just almost outside my door. So I went out there and looked in the rotunda by the marble statue of Governor Lurleen Wallace. And sure enough, the place where they've always been, they were gone. And so I went back in and said, well, where are they? Who's got them? And we started trying to find out, and come to find out that they had been, one had been put, Lurleen Wallace portrait, by a door that does not work. That's that door there in the Secretary of State's office on the outside. And and the other one was beside it in the hallway. So they had really been relegated from the place that was supposed to be displayed to a secondary place. So we tried to find out who did it. You know, we found out that Governor Bentley's office did it.
Oh.
And so we started researching, and we located a mandatory joint resolution that had passed in 1983. And it mandated that the Governor Wallace and Governor Lowland Wallace portraits stay in that rotunda in perpetuity. Well, Governor Bentley must not have known what perpetuity meant. Now, we know he didn't in relation to his marriage of 50 years that he pulled the plug on shortly after this. But that was the first thing, and we found that and began trying to find out who could overrule this. And we did find out the Alabama Historical Commission. And we put in 3 or 4 requests to them citing the resolution, and it was illegal. They didn't do anything. And then come to find out that the young fellow who actually physically did it, they fired him. I guess they're getting rid of all the people that might squeal on them. But we never have, in 8 years, we never have been able to get those portraits back where they were supposed to be. And occasionally somebody will say, well, what does it matter? Historical preservation is important to me.
Yes, sir.
We don't need to take anybody that's politically correct, something that's politically incorrect, and just try to delete it from our history because we don't like that. History is what it is, and it's
And we can always learn from history.
Well, history is so important for our children and our grandchildren and the generations to come, you know?
Well, it certainly is, and that's one of the few disappointments that I've had in my 8-year term, which is all you can have as the state auditor.
Otherwise, you'd still be back. Now, before you were elected as Alabama State Auditor, you've been an attorney for a long time as well.
Yes, what I
Elder
did
abuse, right?
during the last third of my career as a lawyer, I worked with veterans and the families of senior citizens to get them eligible for their nursing home if they ever need it. And people have no idea until Granny goes in that it costs $7,000 a month.
That's a lot.
Granny never made $7,000 in any month of her life, and that's a tremendous expense. But if I can asset the older person's savings and qualify them either under the VA or under Medicaid and get them covered for their nursing home, and it just was a blessing. I must have worked with 200 or 300 families to get Granny eligible, and it was a worthwhile thing. So in 2014, I decided to wind that down, retire, and run for the state auditor's opening that was coming up in 15.
So, do you live here in Montgomery in this area?
I have a place to stay.
Right.
Here, I'm from Mobile, which is 3 hours away.
Right.
So I just had to get me a place to stay in Montgomery, and I did.
Well, we sure applaud, but then we thank you because that is a big uptaking you took on.
Well,
Trying to relocate here to do a job for our state, and you've done a well with it.
Well, and I wanted
you
to
know?
mention a few things too about Jim too. He has been really in our neck of the woods up in North Alabama quite a bit. Every time we would have an event, and we would just ask Jim if he would come. And you've been to almost every event we've ever had with.
Well, I have most events that involve eating. I'm gonna try to go. I'm really gonna try to go.
Jim was at our music in the Geraldine Park.
Yeah, and they had, what was that they were fixing that night? Something unusual on the food end of it.
Oh, the Cowboy Church.
Yes, the Cowboy
they,
Church.
They came with their chuck wagons, and we had a good time, didn't we?
Yes.
And we had 3 music groups there. I didn't know you could sing, by the way.
Well, that.
Neither did his wife.
That remains question. I've had a lot of requests about singing, but I'm gonna sing anyway.
Yeah. Not to. But you're so well received at all these events. And I'm going to tell you another cheerleader you have, and that is Bobby Ledbetter with Twin City Used Car Sales, because you've really helped to widen those events, especially when COVID hit. Such a hard time for folks. And so we were out there at events feeding folks, and you came to just about every one of them.
Yeah, that's great.
Glad to.
That's
Well, when you're gonna have a fish fry or something, let me know, you know.
Well, my husband loves to fry fish. Fried crappie, do you like that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And closer up to your neck of the woods one time, you remember what you told me? We were going to have an event, and Jim said, I'll come up there, and I said, well, can I get like 3 different places for you to go to? You know, so it's worth your while coming up here. It's just coming a far drive, you know. And so Jim said yes, and I got him at the Chamber of Commerce, and they didn't even have a meeting that day. They scrambled around for you to get all those folks there at that Chamber of Commerce meeting.
How about that? That's real nice.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Then you were in
That's really
Scottsboro.
nice.
We went around that day, didn't we?
Yes, absolutely. And I had, they threw a brown bag lunch, there's another term for it, a plowman's lunch, in Fife, in the senior
Fife,
center
Alabama.
down in Fife,
This is
Alabama.
right up in Geraldine. You know.
And they had bologna, cheese, and onion, and
Sweet tea, you know.
sweet tea, and loaf of bread. That's a type of bread, you know, loaf of bread.
Loaf of, yeah. You know you're in the
I
right
love
part of
bread.
the country when you do that.
And it was a full house in the Fife Senior Center for our brown bag lunch.
Well, you know, that's where the UFOs originated.
I heard that, and I looked around, I didn't see any.
I haven't seen any, and I live next town over. But it's been an eventful couple of terms for you.
It has been, probably the single biggest thing that people will remember, because it's not all a pleasant memory. I filed the initial ethics complaint against Governor Robert Bentley. It just had to be filed. And shortly after that, the Secretary of State filed 2 of them for violation of the Campaign Practices Act. After investigating, he finally resigned and pleaded guilty to 2 or 3 misdemeanors and left. That was in April of 17. It had to be done. He just didn't do right.
Let's talk about that, because you believe in doing the right thing, whether it's popular or not. So let's start with folks right now who are thinking about getting into politics. That's the most important thing about you.
Yeah, you gotta have the ethics and the morals and
Well,
values, don't you? Tim?
you do, and I've seen too many people, good people, working people, and they decide to run, and they build them an organization and raise their money and campaign, and they get elected. And unfortunately, I've seen some that they get in, they join up with the Montgomery establishment, and they want all this business council and all these others to like them and support them. So first thing you know, they're not acting like a working person in DeKalb or Jackson or Marshall counties. They're supposed to be a representative of the people, but some think they're put in office because their ideas are so good that they're there to contribute their ideas. That's not it. Not it at all. You're there to represent what the people need back home.
Yes,
And
that's right.
they, we've seen some disappointments get elected. We've also seen many that have done a real good job. For instance, when I go out on January 15th, my successor will be inaugurated as Representative Andrew Sorrell from Muscle Shoals, all the way over on the other end of the Tennessee River, from where y'all are. And Andrew did a good job in the state legislature, and he saw this open seat that will be coming up because I was term limited, and decided to run for it. And he raised the money and put in some money of his own, worked hard, even put their brand new baby in a TV commercial, Liberty.
What about that? Yeah.
And it was very different and eye-catching, and so he'll be coming in. We've been working in what we call a transition period from my administration to Andrew Sorrell's, getting it all set up. He's moved his stuff into my office. It's still boxed up, but he got put out. The legislature, he had his office there, and they decided October 6th he needed to move out. I don't know why. And so we told him, we'll just move it on in over here. Now that's despite the fact that Andrew technically has opposition on Tuesday, November 8th. He's got a libertarian. No Democrat ran against him, only a libertarian who I don't think I know. But he's going to go in. He better go in. He's got his stuff in my office.
He better get in there.
And
Well, I
we're
actually
gonna have
have
to go
not
into a
even,
commercial break.
I've
so
not even heard of the Libertarian. All I knew about was him.
let's go to a commercial break. We'll be right back in just a minute, guys. And I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home. And the Edge with Donna and Kathy, we are right here at the Capitol, in Alabama State Capitol. And we are with a really good friend, and this is Alabama State Auditor Jim Zeigler. It's so good to be with you today, Jim.
Well, it's good to have y'all in the state capitol.
Well, we're tickled to death to be here.
Yes.
You know, you took me on tour one other time.
You
before.
did.
And we're going to try to do a little tour, I think, in between our interviews today.
How about that?
Yeah, we're going to do a little Facebook Live, so everybody will be watching this.
All right. Well, do you need any help
Yeah, we do.
with
We're
that?
gonna
Yeah,
need some help.
to help walk us around. He's going to take us on a tour. We're going to have a couple tour guides.
Some of the things I say when I conduct the tour, the normal tour guides don't talk about.
Oh, we want your tour.
Oh, we need yours. We need
this
Mr.
one.
I
Zeigler's.
tell the inside story.
Well,
Absolutely.
before we went for a quick commercial break, just a moment ago, we were discussing Mr. Sorrell and upcoming change, and tell us how all that takes place, Mr. Zeigler, because you've held this office now a while, and he's going to have to learn a lot from you, you know.
Well, we've already started in. He has access to Hope Scarborough, my administrative assistant, who's
Who's
really,
been awesome.
yes, she's a get things done man in the Capitol. And he calls her several times a week. He might call me once a week, but if he really wants to know the answer, call
The
Hope.
real story.
So what will happen is on January 15th, Andrew Sorrell and his wife and their baby will go to the front steps of the state capitol along with all the other Constitution officers, and they'll be sworn in. Most are sworn in by the state Chief Justice Tom Parker, but sometimes they'll know some judge or somebody that they really want to swear him in, and so that's done.
Oh, that's
Also,
nice.
there'll be an inaugural parade. This will be Governor Ivy's last go-round. She cannot run again anymore after this next Tuesday. She has a Democrat and a Libertarian opponent, but all the polls are showing she's going to win. That the entire Republican ticket's going to win. We don't need to take that for granted.
Still got to get out and vote, right? Don't take that for granted.
No.
Oh, please go vote. Oh, so important, especially this election.
Oh, yeah.
Our country really is in a situation where hopefully it's going to turn around after the elections. Is what we're hoping for.
I hope next Tuesday election will be the starting of getting America back on track. Some of this crap that's going
That's
on,
what it is, really.
the crime,
Oh, the high cost of things are just.
I have to say on that, Mr. Zeigler, I'm proud to be an Alabama resident because our state has done just tremendously well through the COVID and everything y'all had to face. And how hard was that? Like down here in Montgomery when y'all were going through all that? Was it
Well,
just?
the governor and the state health officer shut down this capitol. Well, my office is in that company, so hoping I couldn't get to the office. But they told us that was coming, so we worked on our laptops to get the state computer system where I could pick it up at home and between the cell phone and my laptop, and if I needed to meet with somebody, meet them elsewhere, I was able to get most of it.
So that was wonderful, wasn't it? Technology was good, I guess.
That one time.
This one time, technology was good.
Yeah, but I don't think you.
But I'm like
Zoom
old school.
calls. Because you and I did better in the interview face to face. And we
Oh,
had to do
yeah.
a lot of Zoom calls during that time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for some reason, I'm not too,
I wasn't
Yeah.
gonna say anything, Jim. I
I'm
was,
pretty bad. I was on live on this program by Zoom, man, and I fouled it all up.
yeah, but it worked out. We made it
Well,
work.
I like live better too. Donna, we first started Zoom, and I said, "Well, Donna, we're just gonna have to drive.
Just about into
We're
that.
just gonna have to drive and do this show because
Okay, Jim's got about 4 minutes, a little bit over 4
Oh.
minutes left in this segment. I know you got a lot you would like to say. What would you like to tell the folks before we leave today?
Don't forget to read about the 10 proposed constitutional amendments that are on Tuesday's ballot. And you're going to be doing a show between now and Election Day about the constitutional amendment.
Yeah,
All right.
and I would like to have you host it if you can.
Okay. And there's also a proposed recompilation
What's that?
of the state constitution, which is the longest constitution in the world, but it supposedly pulls out duplicate parts, puts similar parts in together, but supposedly it doesn't make any substantive changes, simply to condense and reorganize the state constitution. And so that's on there too. People need to read up on that. So there's a lot of homework for the voter to do this time.
Yeah, let's set up a date. Well, after the show, we'll set up a time for you to come back and be on the show. We have to do it Zoom, but and talk about those amendments. If you're not careful, I don't know how many times I've just said, I'll put one word out of it and think, well, maybe it means this or maybe it means that. We need you to explain that to us.
Some of the wording of the amendments is just unnecessarily complex. Like it was written by a lawyer who had too many Budweisers.
Something.
A lawyer had too many.
That is true.
He was impaired when he wrote it, is what he said, right?
Speechless when he said that.
Yeah.
That's rare, Jim. That's very rare. But it's so important we get out and vote. And, a lot of folks, like you said, take it for granted. And I was really disappointed when I found out we had such a low turnout at the primaries. And then the runoff election. It was a very low turnout.
It was
State of Alabama, we can do better than that.
Yeah.
I like to think that people in Alabama have more common sense than any Yankees I've ever met. I've met some pretty nice Yankees, but people of Alabama are famous for having common sense. And this is one reason why 100% of our statewide elected officials are Republican. We are arguably the reddest of the red states. And it's just hard for me to fathom that some 40% of all people in the other states go along with President Biden and all these vaccine mandates and shut down the businesses and don't do anything to the Chinese because of the laboratory over there that let this thing loose, and don't keep up the military to the point that we'll be America first. How can 40% of the people agree with Joe Biden? I can watch him one time for about 30 seconds. And he's just not competent to be president of the United States.
Well, we thank you for joining us today, Mr. Zeigler, and thank you for watching. And if you catch this show before the election, please go out and vote. And if you catch it after the election, then thank you for voting. And we were just happy to be here in Montgomery, Alabama today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jim, so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
We're going to do it again before the election, though. We'll be back shortly with another awesome guest. You hang in there, okay?
We're about to make your life just a little bit easier. Join Tony and April at Tony's Pizza and Subs in Center and Cedar Bluff, Alabama. We're cooking up some hot, delicious pizzas, and we'd like to bake one for you. We are home-owned, not a chain, and our pizzas are fresh, homemade with our dough made fresh daily. We have a full menu including fresh, never frozen wings, salad bars, suds sandwiches, and much more. In Center, we have a private dining area for birthday parties, club meetings, and other events. We'll be waiting for you at 1820 East Bypass and Center, and in Cedar Bluff, 3812 Alabama Highway 9. For your convenience, you can call in your order at our Center location, 256-92 Pizza, or Cedar Bluff, 256-557-8651. And we enjoy making your life easier.
Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba.